Remember always, the world is yourself pushed out. Every person you encounter, every relationship you experience, is but a reflection of your own consciousness. The attachment you feel to others, the fear of being alone, these are nothing more than states of consciousness that you have accepted as real. But I say to you now, with all the conviction of my being, that true happiness, lasting fulfillment, comes not from outside yourself, but from within. Let us begin by understanding what it truly means to let them go. This is not about physically pushing people away or cutting ties with those you care about. It is about releasing your attachment to the idea that your happiness depends on them. It is about recognizing that the love, joy, and fulfillment you seek from others are already within you, waiting to be expressed. When you cling to others for your happiness, when you make your joy dependent on their presence or approval, you are denying your own divinity. You are saying to the universe, I am not enough on my own. I need this person to complete me. And the universe, being a perfect mirror, will reflect back experiences that reinforce this belief. But I tell you this, you are complete. You are whole. You are the operant power in your reality. The happiness you seek is not something to be found or gained, but something to be remembered and expressed from within. Imagine now, if you will, a state of being where you are perfectly content, perfectly at peace, perfectly happy, all on your own. Feel this state as vividly as you can. Feel the quiet joy that permeates your being, the deep sense of fulfillment that comes from within. This is your true nature, your God self expressing itself fully. As you embody this state, you will find that your relationships begin to transform. No longer burdened by neediness or fear, you become free to love others unconditionally without expectation or attachment. This is the paradox of letting go, in releasing your grip. You open yourself to deeper, more authentic connections. Now, let us deeper input into the concept of being happy alone. This is not about isolation or loneliness. It is about self-sufficiency, about recognizing that you are the source of your own happiness. It is about cultivating a relationship with yourself that is so rich, so fulfilling, that being alone becomes a joy rather than a burden. Begin now to imagine yourself as someone who is completely at ease in their own company. See yourself enjoying solitary activities with genuine pleasure. Feel the peace that comes from quiet moments of self-reflection. Experience the joy of pursuing your passions and interests without needing anyone else's approval or participation. This state of self-sufficiency is your natural state. It is the expression of your God self, the infinite being that you truly are. When you align with this state, you tap into an endless wellspring of joy and fulfillment that is independent of external circumstances or relationships. But remember, my dear friends, this is not about pushing others away or closing your heart. On the contrary, when you learn to be happy alone, you become capable of forming deeper, more authentic connections with others. You approach relationships from a place of wholeness rather than lack, of giving rather than taking. Imagine now a life where your relationships are no longer based on need or fear, but on genuine love and neutral growth. See yourself interacting with others from a place of inner fullness, sharing your joy rather than seeking it from them. This is the natural result of learning to be happy alone. As you cultivate this inner state of happiness and self-sufficiency, you may find that some relationships in your life begin to change. Some may fall away while others deepen and flourish. This is a natural part of the process. Trust in it. For as you align with your true self, your outer world must rearrange itself to match your new inner reality. Now let us address a fear that may arise as you contemplate letting go and being happy alone. The fear of loneliness. This fear is based on a misunderstanding of your true nature. You are never truly alone, for you are one with the infinite. The entire universe resides within you. Imagine, if you will, that you are an ocean. Each relationship, each person in your life is like a wave on the surface of this ocean. Waves may come and go, rise and fall, but the ocean remains vast and unchanging. This is your true nature, infinite, boundless, complete in itself. When you realize this truth, when you align with this state of being, loneliness becomes impossible. But how can you be lonely when you are one with all that is? How can you lack companionship when you are in constant communion with the divine within you? This realization, my friends, is the key to letting go and being happy alone. It is the understanding that you are never truly alone, that the companionship and love you seek are always available to you, for they are your very essence. As you embody this truth, you will find that your need to cling to others diminishes. You become free to love without attachment, to connect without dependency. Your relationships become expressions of your inner joy, rather than attempts to fill an inner void. Now let us explore the practical aspects of letting go and learning to be happy alone. This is not merely a philosophical concept, but a state of being that you can cultivate through consistent practice. Begin by setting aside time each day to be alone with yourself. This is not time to distract yourself with external entertainment, but time to truly be with yourself. Sit in silence, observe your thoughts and feelings without judgment. Get to know yourself as you would a dear friend. As you do this, you may encounter resistance. Old patterns of thinking, old fears and insecurities may surface. Do not fight them. Simply observe them with compassion, understanding that they are not your true self, but merely conditioned responses that you can choose to release. Practice self-love and self-care. Treat yourself with the same kindness and consideration you would show you deeply care about. Engage in activities that bring you joy and fulfillment, not to impress others or fill time, but because there are genuine expressions of your inner being. Cultivate your passions and interests. Develop skills and knowledge that excite you. As you do this, you build a rich inner world that provides endless satisfaction and fulfillment. You become your own best company, your own source of joy and inspiration. Remember, my friends, the goal is not to avoid relationships or push people away. The goal is to approach relationships from a place of wholeness and self-sufficiency. When you are happy alone, you no longer enter relationships out of need or fear. You choose to connect with others because you want to share your joy, not because you need them to make you happy. As you practice these principles, you may find that your perception of being alone changes dramatically. What once felt like loneliness now becomes solitude, a peaceful, nurturing state where you can commune with your higher self, with the God within you. Imagine now a life where being alone is not something you fear, but something you look forward to. See yourself relishing moments of solitude, using them as opportunities for self-discovery and spiritual growth. Feel the deep sense of peace and contentment that comes from being completely at ease with yourself. This state of being is your birthright. It is the natural expression of your divine nature. As you align with it, you will find that your entire life begins to transform. Your relationships become more authentic and fulfilling. Your work becomes a joyful expression of your inner being rather than a burden. Every aspect of your life begins to reflect the inner peace and happiness you have cultivated. Now, let us address a common misconception about letting go and being happy alone. Some may fear that this means becoming cold or detached, closing their hearts to love and connection. Nothing could be further from the truth. When you learn to be happy alone, when you release your attachments and dependencies, you become capable of loving more deeply and authentically than ever before. Your love becomes an overflowing of your inner joy, rather than an attempt to fill an inner void. You love not because you need, but because love is your nature. Imagine, if you will, a love that comes from a place of fullness rather than lack. A love that seeks to give rather than to get. A love that enhances your life but does not define it. This is the kind of love that becomes possible when you learn to be happy alone. As you cultivate this state of being, you may find that the quality of your relationships improves dramatically, no longer burdened by neediness or fear of abandonment. You become free to be fully present with others. You can appreciate them for who they are rather than for what they can do for you. This shift in consciousness affects not only your romantic relationships, but all your connections with family, friends, colleagues, and even strangers. You begin to approach every interaction from a place of inner fullness, ready to give rather than to take. Now, my dear friends, I want you to understand something crucial. This journey of letting go and learning to be happy alone is not always easy. It requires courage, persistence, and faith. There may be moments of doubt, times when old patterns try to reassert themselves. When these moments come, remember this: you are not alone in this journey. The entire universe is supporting you. The God within you is guiding you every step of the way. Trust in this inner guidance, for it will never lead you astray. Imagine now that you are embarking on a great adventure. The destination is not some external place, but the infinite realm within you. Each step you take in letting go, in learning to be happy alone, is a step deeper into your true self, your divine nature. As you progress on this journey, you will discover treasures beyond your wildest dreams. You will uncover depths of joy, peace, and love that you never knew existed within you. You will realize that everything you have ever sought in the external world has always been within you, waiting to be recognized and expressed. This realization, my friends, is the true meaning of letting go and being happy alone. It is not about isolation or detachment, but about reconnecting with your true self, your divine nature. It is about remembering that you are complete, whole, and perfect just as you are. As you embody this truth, as you live from this state of being, you become a light in this world. Your very presence becomes a reminder to others of their own divine nature. Without saying a word, you teach the profound lesson of self, sufficiency, and inner joy. Imagine the impact you can have on the world when you approach life from this state of being. See yourself moving through your days with quiet confidence and inner peace. Feel the joy that radiates from you, touching everyone you encounter. This is not just a possibility. It is your destiny if you choose to claim it. Now, let us take a moment to address any lingering doubts or fears you may have about letting go and being happy alone. Perhaps you worry that you will miss out on life's experiences, that you will become isolated or disconnected from others. I tell you now, with absolute certainty, that the opposite is true. When you learn to be happy alone, when you release your attachments and dependencies, you become free to engage with life more fully than ever before. You become capable of forming deeper, more meaningful connections because you are no longer approaching relationships from a place of need or fear. Imagine a life where you are free to love without conditions, to give without expectation, to connect without losing yourself. This is the life that becomes possible when you master the art of being happy alone. Moreover, as you cultivate this inner state of happiness and self-sufficiency, you become magnetic to positive experiences and relationships. The universe responds to your inner state, bringing you circumstances and connections that match your new vibration of joy and self-love. Remember, my friends, the outer world is a reflection of your inner state. As you transform your inner world, your outer world must change to match it. This is the law of your being, the creative principle of the universe itself. So I urge you now to commit fully to this journey of letting go and learning to be happy alone. Embrace it not as a sacrifice, but as the greatest gift you can give yourself. For in doing so, you reclaim your power, you remember your divinity, you step into the fullness of who you truly are. Begin today, in this very moment, to live from the state of someone who is completely at peace with themselves, who finds joy and fulfillment in their own company. Feel it, embody it, become it in your imagination, and watch as your outer world shifts to match this new inner reality. As you practice this, you may encounter resistance from your old self, from ingrained patterns of thinking and behaving. When this happens, do not fight against it. Simply observe it with compassion, understanding that it is not your true self, but merely a habit of consciousness that you are now choosing to release. Remember always, you are the operant power in your reality. You are the creator of your experience. The happiness you seek, the love you desire, the fulfillment you crave. All of these are already within you, waiting to be recognized and expressed. As you progress on this journey, you will likely find that your perspective on relationships changes dramatically. You begin to see them not as sources of happiness or security, but as opportunities for growth, for sharing, for expressing the love that already fills your heart. Imagine now a life where you approach every relationship, romantic, platonic, familial, from a place of inner fullness. See yourself giving love freely without need or expectation. Feel the joy of connecting with others, not to fill a void, but to share the abundance that overflows from your heart. This, my dear friends, is the true meaning of letting go and being happy alone. It is not about isolation or detachment, but about discovering the infinite wellspring of love and joy within you. It is about becoming so complete in yourself that your relationships become expressions of your inner abundance, rather than attempts to find plants. As you embody this state of being, you will find that the quality of your relationships improves dramatically. You attract people who resonate with your new vibration of self, love, and inner peace. Your connections become deeper, more authentic, more fulfilling. Moreover, you become capable of loving others more fully and unconditionally. No longer burdened by neediness or fear of loss, you can appreciate others for who they are, rather than for what they can do for you. You become free to support their growth and happiness without losing yourself in the process. This shift in consciousness extends beyond your personal relationships to every aspect of your life. Your work becomes a joyful expression of your inner being, rather than a means to gain approval or security. Your pursuits and passions become pure expressions of your unique gifts, rather than attempts to fill an inner void. Imagine now a life where everything you do comes from a place of inner fullness, where every action is an overflow of the joy and love within you. This is not just a possibility. It is your birthright, your natural state of being when you remember your true nature. As you progress on this journey of letting go and being happy alone, you may find that your entire perception of life changes. What once seemed like challenges or obstacles now become opportunities for growth and self-discovery. What once triggered fear or anxiety now becomes an invitation to trust in your inner strength and wisdom. You begin to see the perfection in every moment, the divine orchestration behind every experience. You recognize that everything in your life, every person, every situation, every seeming setback is serving your highest good, helping you to remember and express your true nature. This realization, my friends, is the ultimate freedom. It is the understanding that you are not a victim of circumstances, but the creator of your reality. It is the knowing that your happiness, your fulfillment, your peace are not dependent on anything or anyone outside of you, but are the very essence of who you are. As you embody this truth, as you live from this state of being, you become a living testament to the power of consciousness. Your very presence becomes a teaching, a reminder to others of their own divine nature and infinite potential. Imagine the impact you can have on the world when you approach life from this state of inner fullness and self-sufficiency. See yourself moving through your days with quiet confidence and radiant joy. Feel the love that flows from you, touching everyone you encounter, transforming lives without a word being spoken. This, my dear friends, is your true purpose: to remember your divine nature and to express it fully in the world. Letting go and learning to be happy alone is not an end in itself, but a means to this greater purpose. It is the path to becoming who you truly are, to living as the God self that is your true identity. So I urge you now with all the love in my heart to embrace this journey fully. Commit yourself to the practice of letting go, of releasing your attachments and dependencies. Dedicate yourself to cultivating inner joy and self-sufficiency. Begin each day by reminding yourself of your true nature. Before you open your eyes in the morning, feel the completeness, the wholeness, the divine perfection that you are. Carry this feeling with you throughout your day, letting it inform every thought, every word, every action. When you encounter situations that challenge your new state of being, when old patterns of thinking or behaving try to reassert themselves, do not fight against them. Simply observe them with compassion, understanding that they are not your true self, but merely habits of consciousness that you are now choosing to release. Remember always that you are not alone in this journey. The entire universe is supporting you. The God within you is guiding you every step of the way. Trust in this inner guidance, for it will never lead you astray. As you persist in this practice, as you continue to embody the state of someone who is completely at peace with themselves, who finds joy and fulfillment in their own company, you will find that your entire life transforms. Your relationships become more authentic and fulfilling. Your work becomes a joyful expression of your unique gifts. Every aspect of your life begins to reflect the inner peace and happiness you have cultivated. Moreover, you become a beacon of light in this world, a living example of the joy and fulfillment that come from true self-sufficiency. Without saying a word, you teach others the profound lesson of inner happiness and self-love. Imagine the ripple effect you can create in the world as you embody this state of being. See how your presence alone can inspire others to look within themselves, to discover their own inner wellspring of joy and fulfillment. Feel the satisfaction of knowing that by healing yourself, by remembering your true nature, you are contributing to the healing and awakening of the entire world. This, my dear friends, is the true power of letting go and learning to be happy alone. It is not just about personal fulfillment, but about transforming the world from the inside out. It is about remembering and expressing your divine nature, and in doing so, reminding others of their own divinity. As we come to the close of our time together, I want to leave you with this final thought. The journey of letting go and learning to be happy alone is not always easy, but it is always worth it. It is the path to true freedom, to lasting happiness, to the full expression of your divine nature. So go forth, my friends, with courage and determination. Embrace this journey as the greatest adventure of your life. Trust in the process, have faith in your inner guidance, and know that with every step you take, you are moving closer to the full realization of who you truly are. Remember always, you are complete. You are whole. You are the source of your own happiness. Everything you have ever sought in the external world is already within you, waiting to be recognized and expressed. As you embody this truth, as you live from this state of inner fullness and self-sufficiency, you become a living testament to the power of consciousness. Your very presence becomes a blessing to the world, a reminder of the infinite potential that resides within each of us. Thank you for your attention, for your willingness to explore these profound truths. May your journey of self-discovery and transformation be filled with joy, wonder, and the deep satisfaction of living as your truest, most authentic self. And may you always remember the divine power that resides within you, waiting to be expressed in all its magnificence. Go now and create the reality you desire, for you are the author of your story, the creator of your world. You are, in truth, the very operation of God in your reality. Embrace this truth, live from it, and watch as your life transforms in the most beautiful and unexpected ways. Thank you, and may your journey be blessed with the full realization of your divine nature in the deep, abiding happiness that naturally flows from this knowing. You are the miracle you seek. You are the love you desire. You are, in every moment, the full expression of divine joy and fulfillment made manifest. Go forth and live from this truth, now and always. I want to share with you a profound truth about the nature of hatred and your relationship to it. What others feel toward you, their hatred, their judgment, their criticism is nothing but their state of consciousness made visible. It has nothing to do with who you truly are. Let me tell you a great secret. When others hate you, they are not actually hating you. They are hating a concept they have created in their own consciousness. They are hating an imagination they have constructed. They are hating their own projection. In the Bible it states the world cannot hate you, but it hates me because they testify that its works are evil. This is not speaking of a physical person being hated. It is speaking of the state of consciousness that rises above the world's limitations and judgments. Consider this profound truth. When you understand that others' hatred is merely their state of consciousness externalized, you are freed from the need to change their minds or win their approval. You are liberated to occupy the state of consciousness you choose. You see, when someone expresses hatred toward you, what is really happening? They are showing you their state of consciousness. They are revealing their limitations, their fears, their own inner conflicts. Their hatred has nothing to do with you and everything to do with their state. Let me share with you what I call the law of projected consciousness. Whatever others project onto you, whether love or hate, acceptance or rejection, is merely their state of consciousness made visible. You are not the target of their hatred. You are the screen upon which they project their state. Consider this deeply when you understand this truth. Others' hatred loses its power over you. Their judgment becomes meaningless. Their criticism becomes irrelevant. For you understand that they are not seeing you. They are seeing their old state reflected back to them. Let me tell you about something I call the state of divine indifference. This is not coldness or lack of caring. This is the state where you are so secure in your own consciousness that others' opinions, whether love or hate, have no power to move you from your chosen state. This is what the scripture means when it says, "Let them alone, they be blithe." You don't fight against their hatred. You don't try to change their minds. You simply remain in your chosen state, allowing them to occupy whatever state they choose. Now here is the wonderful news that hatred can actually serve as a confirmation that you are occupying a state beyond their current understanding. Their rejection can be a sign that you have transcended the limitations they still accept as real. Let me share with you what I call the law of transcendent consciousness. When you occupy a state that transcends others' limitations, their hatred is often automatic. They hate what they don't understand. They reject what they cannot comprehend within their current state. But remember, their hatred is their limitation, not yours. Their rejection is their boundary, not yours. Their judgment is their prison, not yours. Consider what the scripture means when it says, "Blessed are ye when men shall hate you." This is not celebrating hatred. This is acknowledging that when you occupy a state beyond others' understanding, their hatred is often inevitable and ultimately irrelevant. Let me share with you another powerful truth. When you are secure in your own state of consciousness, others' hatred becomes a tool for your growth rather than a weapon for your destruction. Their rejection becomes confirmation of your transcendence rather than evidence of your unworthiness. Think about this deeply. Every great advancement in human consciousness has been met with hatred. Every expansion of human potential has been resisted. Every breakthrough has been rejected until it became the new normal. Let me share with you another profound dimension of this truth. Consider what happens in your consciousness when you encounter others' hatred. Most people make what I call the fundamental error. They try to escape the hatred, prove themselves worthy, or fight against the rejection. But I tell you this, all of these responses come from accepting their hatred as having power over you. Instead, let me share with you what I call the law of conscious elevation. When others hate you, use their hatred as a stepping stone to elevate your consciousness even higher. In the Bible, it states, "Love your enemies, bless them that curse you." This is not mere moral advice. This is a profound psychological law. When you can remain in a state of love while others hate, when you can maintain your chosen state while others reject you, you are demonstrating mastery over consciousness. Consider this deeply. When others hate you, they are actually giving you an opportunity to prove the power of your consciousness. They are providing you with a chance to demonstrate that external conditions have no power over your internal state. Let me share with you what I call the law of opposite assumption. When faced with hatred, instead of contracting in fear or expanding in anger, assume the exact opposite state. If they project hatred, assume love. If they project rejection, assume acceptance. If they project limitation, assume abundance. You see, most people make the mistake of meeting hatred with hatred, rejection with rejection, judgment with judgment. But I tell you this, when you do that, you are accepting and energizing the very state you wish to transcend. Consider what the scripture means when it says, "Judge not, that he be not judged." This is not about morality. This is about the law of consciousness. Whatever state you occupy, whether judgment or acceptance, hatred or love, becomes your experience. Let me share with you what I call the state of divine detachment. This is the state where others' hatred has no power to disturb your peace, where their rejection has no ability to shake your certainty, where their judgment has no capacity to alter your chosen state. This is what the Bible means when it says, "Be in the world, but not of it." You acknowledge the existence of others' hatred while refusing to enter into its state. You recognize their rejection while remaining in your chosen state of acceptance. It's about this profound truth. When others hate you, they're actually telling you more about their limitations than about your worth. Their hatred is a declaration of their boundaries, not your value. Their rejection is a statement of their fears, not your potential. Let me share with you what I call the law of consciousness reflection. Whatever others project onto you is merely a reflection of their own consciousness. Their hatred reflects their limitations. Their rejection reflects their fears. Their judgment reflects their insecurities. But here's the wonderful news. You are not their reflection. You are not their projection. You are not their imagination. You are the pure awareness that can choose which state to occupy regardless of their projections. Consider this deeply. When others hate you, they are actually giving you a gift. The gift of clarity about which state you choose to occupy. Will you enter their state of hatred, or will you maintain your state of love? Will you accept their rejection, or will you remain in acceptance? Let me share with you what I call the law of conscious choice. In every moment of hatred, in every instance of rejection, in every experience of judgment, you have a choice. You can either enter their state or maintain your own. This is what the scripture means when it says, "Choose you this day whom you shall serve. Will you serve the state of hatred they project, or will you serve the state of love you choose to occupy?" Think about this. Every time others hate you, they are actually presenting you with an opportunity to demonstrate the power of your consciousness. Every rejection is a chance to prove that external conditions cannot dictate your internal state. Let me share with you what I call the state of divine immunity. This is the state where others' hatred has no more power to affect your consciousness than a shadow has power to affect the sun. Their rejection has no more ability to shake your state than a wave has power to shake the ocean. This is what the Bible means when it says, "Greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world." The state you choose to occupy is greater than any state others project onto you. Consider this profound truth when you truly understand that others' hatred is merely their state made visible. You are freed from the need to defend, explain, or justify. You are liberated to simply be, to occupy your chosen state regardless of their projections. Let me share with you another profound dimension of this truth. In the Bible it states, "If the world hates you, ye know that it hated me before it hated you." This is not about the personal hatred. It's about the world's natural resistance to any consciousness that transcends its limitations. Consider what I call the law of elevated consciousness. When you elevate your consciousness beyond the common stake, when you refuse to accept the limitations others embrace, when you choose to live from a higher state, hatred from those stilled by limitations is natural. You see, their hatred is actually a confirmation that you're no longer operating at their level of consciousness. Their rejection is evidence that you've transcended the state that they're currently occupying. Their criticism proves you've moved beyond their limitations. Let me share with you what I call the principle of divine distinction. When others hate you, they are actually helping you distinguish yourself from the mass consciousness. They are helping you confirm your occupation of a higher state. I think about this deeply. Every prophet, every visionary, every individual who has dared to live from a higher state of ahadith has passed, not because they were wrong, but because they were operating from a state beyond the world's current understanding. This is what the scripture means when it says, "Marvel not, my brethren, if the world hates you." Don't be surprised by hatred. Don't be shocked by rejection. Don't be dismayed by criticism. These are merely signs that you're no longer conforming to the limitations of mass consciousness. Let me share with you another powerful principle I call the law of persistent elevation. When faced with hatred, don't descend to the state of those who hate you. Don't drop down to their level of consciousness. Instead, use their hatred as momentum to rise even higher. You see, most people make this crucial mistake. When faced with hatred, they try to defend themselves. They try to prove themselves. They try to justify their position. But I tell you this, no defense is necessary when you understand the law of consciousness. Consider this profound truth. Those who hate you are not actually seeing you. They are seeing their own limitations reflected back to them. They are seeing their own fears magnified. They are seeing their own boundaries challenged. Let me share with you what I call the state of divine detachment. This is the state where you are so secure in your consciousness that others' hatred becomes merely interesting rather than impactful. Their rejection becomes informative rather than influential. This is what the scripture means when it says, "Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do." This is not about pardoning enemies. This is about understanding that those who hate you are operating from a state of limited consciousness. They literally know not what they do. Let me share with you another powerful technique I call the consciousness of transcendence. When others express hatred toward you, instead of reacting, pause and ask yourself what state of consciousness is being revealed here. What limitations are being exposed? You see, their hatred is actually a gift. It's showing you exactly what states of consciousness you've transcended. It's revealing precisely what limitations you've moved beyond. It's confirming exactly how far you've elevated your own consciousness. Consider what happens when you shine a light into darkness. The darkness doesn't attack the light. It simply cannot comprehend it. This is exactly what happens when you operate from a higher state of consciousness. Those in lower states cannot comprehend your state, so they resist it. Let me share with you what I call the law of conscious resistance. The more you elevate your consciousness, the more resistance you will face from those who haven't elevated theirs. The higher you rise, the more those still bound by limitations will resist your rise. But here's the wonderful truth. Their resistance is actually helping you. Their hatred is actually serving you. Their rejection is actually confirming you. For every expression of hatred is merely showing you that you're no longer bound by the limitations they still accept as real. Think about this when someone hates you for living your truth, for expressing your authentic state, for occupying a higher consciousness. They are actually helping you strengthen your conviction in your chosen state. Let me share with you another profound aspect of this truth. Consider what I call the law of conscious polarization. When you occupy a state that transcends common limitations, you naturally create polarization. Some will be drawn to your light, while others will resist it with hatred. In the Bible it states, "Think not that I am come to send peace on earth. I came not to send peace, but a sword." This is not about physical conflict. It's about the natural division that occurs when you dare to occupy a higher state of consciousness. You see, when you refuse to conform to limitations, when you choose to live from an elevated state, you automatically create what I call the contrast of consciousness. Your very presence becomes a mirror reflecting back to others their own limitations, their own fears, their own boundaries. Let me share with you what I call the principle of conscious magnetism. The more firmly you occupy your chosen state, the more you will attract both intense love and intense hatred. Those ready to elevate their consciousness will be drawn to you, while those committed to their limitations will resist you. Consider this deeply. Their hatred is actually a form of tribute. It's an unconscious acknowledgement that you've transcended the limitations they still accept as real. Their rejection is actually a confirmation that you're no longer bound by the constraints they still embrace. This is what the scripture means when it says, "You are the light of the world." When you shine your light, when you live from your elevated state of consciousness, you automatically create contrast. Light doesn't fight darkness. It simply reveals what darkness has been hiding. Let me share with you another powerful principle I call the law of conscious authenticity. The more authentic you are to your chosen state, the more polarization you will create. Some will recognize and resonate with your truth, while others will react with hatred to what they cannot understand. You see, most people make this fundamental error. They try to dim their light to avoid others' hatred. They try to shrink their consciousness to escape others' rejection. They try to conform their state to avoid others' criticism. But I tell you this, dimming your light doesn't serve anyone. Shrinking your consciousness doesn't help anyone. Conforming your state doesn't benefit anyone. The world needs your light in its full intensity, even if that light triggers others' hatred. Let me share with you what I call the state of divine authenticity. This is the state where you are so secure in your chosen consciousness that others' hatred becomes irrelevant to your expression. Their rejection becomes meaningless to your expansion. Their criticism becomes powerless against your truth. This is what the Bible means when it says, "Let your light so shine before men." This is not about seeking attention or provoking reaction. It's about being authentically true to your elevated state of consciousness, regardless of how others respond. Consider this profound truth. When you allow others' hatred to dim your light, you're not just denying yourself. You're denying those who need your light to find their way. When you let others' rejection shrink your consciousness, you're not just limiting yourself. You're limiting those who could be inspired by your example. Let me share with you what I call the law of conscious responsibility. Once you understand that others' hatred is their limitation, not yours, you have a responsibility to maintain your elevated state. Their hatred doesn't give you permission to descend to their level of consciousness. Think about this. Every time you maintain your elevated state in the face of hatred, you're demonstrating what's possible. Every time you stay true to your consciousness, despite rejection, you're showing others that they too can transcend limitations. Let me share with you what I call the principle of conscious elevation. When others hate you, They're actually providing you with an opportunity to demonstrate the power of elevated consciousness. Their hatred becomes your chance to show that external conditions need not affect internal state. This is what the scripture means when it says, love your enemies, do good to them that hate you. This is not about being nice to those who hate you. It's about maintaining your elevated state of consciousness, regardless of how others react to it. Consider what happens when you remain in love while others hate, when you stay in peace while others attack, when you maintain joy while others reject. You're not just preserving your state, you're demonstrating the power of consciousness over circumstances. Consider what I call the law of conscious expansion. When others hate you, they actually provide you with an opportunity to expand your consciousness even further. Their hatred becomes a catalyst for your growth. In the Bible it states, "Blessed are ye when men shall revile you and persecute you." This is not celebrating persecution. It's recognizing that opposition can serve as a powerful force for expanding your consciousness. You see, when faced with hatred, most people contract, they shrink, they retreat. But I tell you this, hatred can be the very force that pushes you to expand beyond your current limitations, to occupy even higher states of consciousness. Let me share with you what I call the principle of conscious transformation. Every instance of hatred you encounter is actually an invitation to transform your consciousness. Every rejection is an opportunity to deepen your understanding. Every criticism is a chance to strengthen your state. Consider this deeply. Those who hate you are actually serving as unconscious agents of your expansion. Their hatred provides the resistance against which you can strengthen your conscious power. Their rejection offers the contrast through which you can clarify your chosen state. This is what the scripture means when it says, "The stone which the builders reject has become the head of the corner." Your very rejection by others can become the foundation of your greatest strength. Let me share with you another powerful principle I call the law of conscious immunity. The more you understand that others' hatred is their stake, not yours, the more immune you become to its effects. Their rejection loses its power to disturb your peace. Their criticism fails to shake your certainty. You see, most people make this crucial error. They try to protect themselves from hatred by building walls, by creating defenses, by establishing barriers. But I tell you this, true immunity comes not from protection, but from understanding. Consider what I call the state of divine understanding. This is the state where you so completely understand the nature of consciousness that others' hatred becomes merely interesting rather than threatening. Their rejection becomes instructive rather than destructive. This is what the Bible means when it says, "And ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free." The truth that sets you free is the understanding that others' hatred is their stake, their limitation, their boundary, not yours. Let me share with you what I call the principle of conscious selection. When others hate you, you have a choice in every moment. You can either enter their state of hatred, or you can maintain your chosen state of love. You can accept their rejection, or you can remain in acceptance. Think about this profound truth. Every time others express hatred towards you, they are actually presenting you with an opportunity to choose your state of consciousness. Their hatred becomes the backdrop against which you can demonstrate your conscious power. Let me share with you what I call the law of conscious reflection. Whatever others project onto you, whether their love, rejection, or acceptance, is merely a reflection of their state of consciousness. You are the mirror, not the reflection. This is what the scripture means when it says, "Judge not that ye be not judged." When you understand that all judgment is self-judgment, that all hatred self-hatred, that all rejection is self-rejection, you are freed from the need to react to others' projections. Consider this, when someone hates you, they are actually showing you their relationship with themselves. When they reject you, they are revealing their rejection of aspects of themselves. When they criticize you, they are expressing their own inner critic. Let me share with you what I call the principle of conscious compassion. When you truly understand that others' hatred comes from their limitations, their fears, their boundaries, you can actually feel compassion for them while maintaining your elevated state. This is not weak compassion that compromises your state. This is strong compassion that understands while remaining unmoved. This is clear compassion that recognizes the source of hatred while refusing to enter its state. Think about this. Every time someone hates you for living your truth, for expressing your life, for occupying your chosen state, they are actually showing you where they feel most limited, most afraid, most bound.
I want to reveal to you why these words hold such tremendous power and how you can use them to manifest everything you have ever desired. You see, most people spend their entire life searching outside themselves for power, for permission, for validation. They believe their desires must be achieved through hard work, struggle, and external forces. But I tell you this, all power resides within your own consciousness. When you declare, "I am the power," you are acknowledging the fundamental truth of existence. You are recognizing that the force that moves the stars and grows the flowers is the same force that flows through your consciousness. Let me tell you something profound about these 4 words. When you speak them, you're not making a mere affirmation. You're declaring your true nature, your essential being. You're acknowledging the creative force within you. Consider this. Every great achievement in human history began with someone recognizing their inner power. They didn't wait for external permission. They didn't seek validation from others. They understood that all power flows from within. You see, most people have it backwards. They say, "When I have this, then I will be powerful." But I tell you this, you must first assume your power, and then all things become possible. These 4 words, "I am the power," are not just words to be spoken. They must be felt. They must be lived. They must become your dominant state of consciousness. Let me share with you what happens when you truly embody these words. The entire universe must reorganize itself to reflect your new self-concept. This is not metaphysics, it's law. This is law. Most of you sit here tonight thinking about what you want to manifest. But I tell you this, manifestation is not about getting something you don't have. It's about revealing what already exists within your consciousness. When you declare, "I am the power," you're not creating power. You're acknowledging what has always been true. This recognition changes everything. Your entire world must shift to align with this declaration. You see, most people approach manifestation like beggars, hoping and wishing for their desires to be granted. But when you know, I am the power, you approach life as a creator, knowing that what you decree must manifest. Let me share something profound about consciousness. Your consciousness is the only reality. Everything you see in your world is simply consciousness made visible. Therefore, when you declare, "I am the power," you're literally reshaping your entire universe. Think about this. Every morning when you wake up, you're either reinforcing your powerlessness or claiming your power. There is no neutral position. Every thought, every feeling, every assumption is either aligning with "I am the power" or denying it. You see, these 4 words are not just a positive affirmation. They are a recognition of the fundamental truth of your being. When you truly grasp this, manifestation becomes as natural as breathing. Most of you have been taught to look for power in external circumstances, in money, in relationships, in social status. But I tell you this, all these things are merely effects. The cause lies in your consciousness. Consider what happens when you truly know, "I am the power." You no longer beg, you no longer plead, you no longer hope. You simply decree, and by law your decree must manifest. Let me share with you why these words are so transformative. When you declare, "I am the power," you're shifting your entire self-concept. You're no longer seeing yourself as a victim of circumstances, but as the creator of circumstances. You see, most people spend their lives reacting to what they see. But when you know, "I am the power," you understand that what you see is simply your consciousness pushed out. Therefore, to change what you see, you must change your consciousness. Think about this. Every great achievement began with someone knowing they were the power. They didn't wait for conditions to change. They change conditions by changing their consciousness. Let me share with you what happens in the depths of consciousness when you truly embody these 4 words. Your entire world begins to reorganize itself to match your new self concept. You see, most people believe their circumstances dictate their state of being. But when you declare, I am the power, you reverse this process. Your state of being now dictates your circumstances. Consider this: every moment of your life, you're either expressing power or expressing limitation. There is no middle ground. When you truly grasp these 4 words, you cease giving power to external conditions. Let me tell you something profound about manifestation. When you know I am the power, you stop asking how things will manifest. You understand that the power that knows the way will make the way. Most of you sit here tonight thinking about your problems, your limitations, your obstacles. But I tell you this, these are merely shadows cast by a consciousness that has forgotten I am the power. You see, when you truly embody these 4 words, you enter a new dimension of being. In this dimension, problems don't need to be solved. They simply dissolve in the light of your consciousness. Think about this. Everything you see in your world right now is the result of your previous concepts about yourself. Change the concept by knowing I am the power, and your world must change. Let me share with you the true meaning of these words. When you declare I am the power, you're not making a positive statement. You're acknowledging your true identity. Most of you have been taught to look for causes outside yourself. But when you know I am the power, you understand that you are the only cause in your world. Consider this carefully. Every condition in your life right now is simply a shadow of your consciousness. When you truly know I am the power, you cease fighting shadows and start changing consciousness. Let me tell you about the transformative nature of these 4 words. When you declare I am the power, you're not just changing your thoughts. You're changing the very foundation of your reality. You see, most people live their entire lives believing they're victims of circumstances. But when you truly embody I am the power, you understand that circumstances are merely reflections of consciousness. Consider what happens when you wake up each morning knowing I'm the power. Suddenly, obstacles become opportunities. Problems become possibilities. Every challenge becomes a chance to demonstrate your creative power. Let me share something profound about these words. When you declare I am the power, you're not making a future promise. You're claiming a present reality. This distinction changes everything. Most of you sit here thinking about what you want to create in your future. But I tell you this, there is no future creation. There is only present assumption. When you know I am the power, you understand that what you assume now must manifest. You see, these 4 words are not just a statement. They are a complete shift in consciousness. When you truly embody them, you cease looking outside yourself for anything. Think about this. Every time you say, I can't or it's too difficult, you're denying these 4 words. You're giving your power away to external conditions. Let me tell you what happens when you consistently maintain this consciousness. Your entire world must reshape itself to reflect your new self-concept. Most of you have spent years accumulating evidence of your limitations. But when you know I am the power, you understand that all past evidence is irrelevant. Only your present assumption matters. Consider this. Every great achievement in your life began with a shift in consciousness. When you knew you could, you did. These 4 words simply make this knowing permanent. Let me share with you something profound about these 4 words that most will never understand. When you declare I am the power, you're not just making a statement. You're activating the very force that created the universe. You see, most people spend their lives waiting for permission to be powerful. They wait for the right circumstances, the right credentials, the right moment. But I tell you this, the only permission you need is your own recognition that I am the power. Consider what happens in your world when you truly embody these words. Your relationships change because you no longer seek power from others. Your work transforms because you no longer depend on external validation. Your entire life shifts because you're operating from a new dimension of consciousness. Let me tell you about the subtle shift that occurs when you consistently maintain this state. You stop asking, when will my desire manifest? Because you understand that manifestation is not a future event. It's a present moment recognition. Most of you have been taught that power is something to be acquired. But when you declare I'm the power, you understand that power is your natural state. Everything else is learned powerlessness. You see, these four words challenge everything you've been taught about. Cause and effect. When you know I am the power, you understand that consciousness is the only cause and everything else is effect. Think about this. Every time you say I hope or I wish, you're denying these four words. You're placing power outside yourself in some future event or external circumstance. Let me share with you what happens when you maintain this consciousness consistently. Your entire world must rearrange itself to match your new self-concept. This is not theory, this is law. Most of you sit here tonight thinking about your past failures, your current limitations, your future obstacles. But I tell you this, all of these are merely shadows cast by a consciousness that has forgotten I am the power. Consider this. Every moment of your life, you're either expressing power or expressing limitation. There is no neutral ground. When you truly grasp these four words, you cease giving power to anything external. Let me reveal to you the deeper meaning behind these four words. When you declare I am the power, you're not making a casual statement. You're aligning yourself with the fundamental creative force of the universe. You see, most people live their entire lives believing that power lies in their actions, their resources, their connections. But I tell you this, all these are merely expressions of consciousness. When you know I am the power, your actions flow from this knowing. Consider what happens when you approach each day from this consciousness. You no longer wake up wondering what the day will bring. You wake up knowing that you bring to the day whatever you decree in consciousness. Let me tell you about the transformation that occurs when you live from these four words. You stop seeking validation from others because you understand that all validation comes from within. You stop fighting circumstances because you know that circumstances are merely shadows. Most of you have spent years trying to change effects while leaving the cause untouched. But when you declare I am the power, you go straight to the cause, your own consciousness. You see, these four words contain within them the secret of all creation. When you truly embody them, you understand that everything in your world is simply your consciousness pushed out. Think about this. Every time you blame external conditions for your state, you're denying these four words. You're giving away your creative power to shadows. Let me share with you what happens when this consciousness becomes natural to you. You stop asking, how will this happen? Because you understand that the power that knows the way will make the way. Most of you sit here thinking about what's possible and what's impossible. But I tell you this, possibility and impossibility exist only in consciousness. When you know I am the power, all things become possible. Consider this. Every limitation in your life now exists only because you've accepted it in consciousness. When you truly embody these four words, all limitations dissolve. Let me share with you something profound about these four words that will forever change how you view manifestation. When you declare I am the power, you're not just speaking words. You're awaking to your true identity. You see, most people spend their lives seeking power through achievement, through accumulation, through recognition. But I tell you this, all seeking ends when you realize that you are what you've been seeking. Consider what happens when you truly grasp these words. You stop looking for signs, you stop waiting for permission, you stop seeking approval. Because when you know I am the power, what else could you possibly need? Let me tell you about the shift that occurs in your relationships when you embody these words. You no longer need others to complete you, to validate you, to empower you. You become complete within yourself. And paradoxically, this completeness attracts more fulfilling relationships. Most of you have been taught that power comes from doing. But when you declare I am the power, you understand that power comes from being. Your doing then flows naturally from your being. You see, these four words revolutionize your entire approach to manifestation. You stop trying to make things happen and start allowing them to unfold from your consciousness. Think about this. Every time you say, I'll try or I hope, you're actually denying your power. You're placing the fulfillment of your desires in some uncertain future. Let me share with you what happens. When you maintain this consciousness consistently, your entire world must reshape itself to reflect this new self-concept. This is not magic, this is law. Most of you sit here tonight thinking about what you need to do to manifest your desires. But I tell you this, manifestation is not about doing, it's about being. When you know I am the power, the doing takes care of itself. Consider this. Every great achievement in history began with someone knowing their power. They didn't wait for conditions to be perfect. They understood that conditions respond to consciousness. You see, most people spend their lives in reaction mode, responding to circumstances, adapting to conditions. But I tell you this, when you know I am the power, you create circumstances, you determine conditions. Consider what happens when you approach each moment from this consciousness. You no longer see problems as obstacles, you see them as opportunities to demonstrate your creative power. Let me tell you about the transformation that occurs in your financial world when you embody these words. Money ceases to be something you chase and becomes something you attract through your consciousness of abundance. Most of you have been programmed to believe that success requires struggle. But when you declare, I am the power, you understand that success is simply the natural expression of your consciousness. You see, these 4 words completely transform your relationship with time. When you truly know I am the power, you cease postponing your good to some future date. Think about this. Every time you say, when I have this, then I'll be powerful, you're denying your present power. You're placing your power in external conditions. Let me share with you what happens when this consciousness becomes your natural state. The entire experience of reality shifts. What seemed impossible becomes inevitable. Most of you sit here tonight thinking about your past failures, your present limitations, your future uncertainties. But I tell you this, all these are merely shadows cast by a consciousness that has forgotten its power. Consider this. Every moment of your life, you're either expressing power or expressing limitation. There's no middle ground. When you truly grasp these 4 words, you cease giving power to anything external. Let me share with you the final and most crucial understanding about these 4 words. When you declare, I am the power, you are making the ultimate declaration of independence from all external influences. You see, tonight marks a turning point in your life. From this moment forward, you will never again see yourself as powerless. You will never again give your power away to circumstances, to other people, or to past experiences. Consider this moment right now. As you sit here absorbing these words, you have a choice. You can continue living as you have been, seeing power as something outside yourself, or you can claim your true identity by knowing I am the power. Let me tell you what your world will look like when you fully embody these words. Everything that once seemed like an obstacle will become a stepping stone. Every challenge will become an opportunity to demonstrate your creative power. Most of you came here tonight seeking answers. But I tell you this, the only answer you need is already within you. It is the knowing, the absolute conviction that I am the power. You see, these 4 words are not just a technique or a method. They are a complete revolution in consciousness. When you truly embody them, your entire world must transform. Think about tomorrow morning when you wake up. Will you rise as the same person who came here tonight? Or will you rise knowing I am the power, ready to create your day consciously? Let me share with you this final truth. There's no power outside of you. There never was and there never will be. All power resides in consciousness, and you are that consciousness. From this moment forward, let every breath you take be a reminder that I am the power. Let every heartbeat affirm this truth. Let every step you take be from this consciousness. Remember, you are not becoming powerful. You are simply recognizing what has always been true. You are the power that creates worlds. You are the power that moves mountains. You are the power that transforms lives. Tonight, make this sacred commitment to yourself. Promise that you will never again deny your power. Promise that you will never again give your power away. Promise that you will live every moment from the consciousness that I am the power. For this promise lies your freedom. In this recognition lies your transformation. In this knowing lies everything you have ever desired. Go forth now, not as seekers but as knowers, not as hopeful dreamers but as conscious creators, not as victims of circumstances but as martyrs. For when you know, truly know, I am the power, nothing in this world can stand against you. Nothing can deny you. Nothing can limit you. This is your time. This is your power. Now, rise up and claim it. Rise up and live it. Rise up and be it. For you are the power. You have always been the power, and you will always be the power. Let this be your final understanding, your ultimate truth, your eternal knowing. I'm the power. And so it is.